All right. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for NFHS Officials Consortium number 3 of the 25-26 school year. Hard to believe that we're almost April. I said it out loud earlier today that next week was like April 2nd, and then I had to stop and go, is that really next week? So crazy, this year's flying by. But well, I thank you for taking the time to be with us this evening. And we are talking about building community through philanthropy with a group that is near and dear to my heart, Sports Officials Care. So we've got three of the individuals who are critical in the mission of SOC, and that's Jennifer Skolochenko-Platt, Amy
Hey.
Rosewater, and Scott Twardowski. And Jen and Amy wear a lot of hats, so they work with UMPS Care, and that's their full-time gig. But then their other full-time gig is Sports Officials Care because they spend a whole lot of time and energy on SOC, and you'll learn about what that is here in a couple minutes. Then Scott Twardowski is an NBA referee, and he is on the SOC board, which I also serve on. So it's mission oriented. Anybody who is in the officiating space and then in the interscholastic officiating space. This is an organization that, as state associations, I really feel like you can make some good connections with them and really kind of broaden your base with your officials. You'll learn about their programs. I'm super excited to have them on and to really educate our state associations about what sports officials care. I swear I can say it, what they do. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Jen, Amy, and Scott to rock and roll, and I'm just going to sit and listen. Thank you for
Awesome.
joining us.
Thank you guys all for being here today and for your willingness to hear about what we're doing. A little bit of background as to the organization. As Dana had shared, I am wearing a couple hats. I'm the executive director of UMPS Care Charities and also Sports Officials Care, and Amy is the director of marketing and communication for both organizations, and Scott is the vice president of our board. So just wanted to give a little introductions and then give a little background on the organization, and then I'll let Amy fill you guys in a little bit more on the ins and outs of what we do. But for the past, I guess since 2012, I have run UMPS Care Charities, which is Major League Baseball umpires official philanthropy. And about 4 years ago, we got a tap on the shoulder from some of our officiating friends at the NFL and in the NBA and Major League Soccer and said, man, we love what you guys are doing. How can we collaborate on a project and work together and use our platform to do some good? And so the idea of Sports Officials Care was born. We are a relatively young nonprofit. We incorporated in 2022, so this is our fourth year of operation, and it has been quite the ride. Our goal is to educate, inspire, and train the next generation of sports officials, and we are doing that through a few different programs that I'll let Amy talk about. But we are really excited as an organization to be able to make a difference in the youth sports, particularly officiating space, and just be a positive, good vibe for officials everywhere. Because what we have found is that, in having worked with officials for the last 12 years of my life, they are incredibly giving people just in general and by nature. And so we also wanted to create a way for officials to come together and give back. So with that, I'll hand it off to Amy, and Scott to say a few words as well.
Well, I'm going to pass the baton over to Scott real quick and have him say some things. You're used to having a ball, passed your way. So I'll let you take it from here and just explain a little bit more about how you got involved and what your role is.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for everybody for having us on here today. Also, I think in case you wanted more information later, a little bit more deeper dive, we do have a video that's up on YouTube. I think Dana has a link to it. So if you wanted to watch it or share it, it kind of encapsulates things. So if you're going to present it to somebody else. But anyways, my name is Scott Twardowski. I'm just finishing up my 15th year in the NBA, and I started refereeing youth sports. My mom and dad said, A, you're going to college, and B, you're paying for it. And so one of the ways that I had paid for it was to referee youth sports. And then I got the bug and got into high school and college, and then eventually the WNBA, the G League, and the NBA. When we started going around and looking at what was going on or reading articles about the abuse or people quitting or games being canceled, it was like red flags all over the place. Like, what can we do instead of just complaining and shaking our fist at it? What is something we can actually physically do that's going to change the landscape of officiating? And so, as mentioned, our first pillar is to inspire that next generation of officials. And in some places, it's going to be the high school athletes that are no longer going to play at the next level, or they're looking for a way to get some money instead of going working at a local 7-Eleven or something like that. And so we go to these high schools and we meet in other places as well, to inspire that next generation so that we can get young people that are athlete based, that know the game at all games, all sports, and continue making an impact. And the next one is we're trying to unite the next level or the officials that are already there so that we can get better together. We can put a better product on the court, on the field, wherever it may be, so that everybody has a better opportunity to see what good officiating is, which allows the athletes to do their best and everybody gets to elevate together. The next one is we want to work on respect. Like, how do we treat one another? How do the coaches and the players and the fans interact with officials? A lot of that abuse is causing people to just shake their head and walk away. And that's something that is not okay. And so if we can help elevate the respect level in all directions, we're going to have a better product as well. And then the last pillar is to give back to the community, because realistically, referees are part of the community. They're at your church. They're at your school line, pickup line. You're going to see them at the grocery store. You're going to see them at Boys and Girls Scouts and all those different things. We are part of the fabric of the community. And so we try to do is we reach out and we do food drives and hope drives. We pack for food for homeless shelters and all those different types of way, just to show that we are people too. We care about our communities on and off the court, and just want to impact the overall youth sports officiating landscape. So that's the quick overview. Amy and Jen and Dana, they have answers as well. But if you have any questions for me, I'll be around the whole time. But also, if you need to reach out later, Dana has all my information as well.
Awesome. And part of what makes this organization so great is that we have folks who have reached the highest level of the game, like Scott, like Billy Kennedy, who's our president. But we also have officials who have spent their life working Little League and spent their life working high schools and so it runs the gamut of who can be involved, and that's the key to making this work. And so I want to thank Dana especially for having us spotlighted on this call and giving us a moment to just spread the word, because as you all know, navigating the world of officiating is not very easy. You can't just like type in and say, who's the officials for blah, blah, blah state. Everyone has their own pathway. Every state operates differently. Every county runs differently. Every sport runs it differently. And we are trying to, get through this hornet's nest of all these different organizations and spread the word out, because you guys are the key to us getting this message out. So I'm just going to share my screen if I can. Let me see if I can do that. Here we go. And I'm going to put it in this mode, even though it's not as pretty, just because I can move the screen a bit better. So tonight we are going to talk about connecting our community and philanthropy. And that really, when Dana sent me that as the title for tonight's Zoom, I was like, you clearly know exactly what we do, because that's what we want to do. And our tagline is do your part, which we can credit Scott with that line, but everyone here can do their part to make this a better climate for youth sports, especially. We know that if Scott Todarski is dealing with Draymond Green, he has a little bit more security helping him out. But we have at the high school levels, that it's not quite as easy as that. So, and as we talked about, we are working with members of all different leagues. MLB, for those of you who aren't totally clear on what umps care is or what we do on the baseball side of things, baseball really was the beginnings of all this, and then the other leagues kind of came on board. So just another backtrack about umps care is that the umpires from the ground up created an organization to give back. and part of it at the beginning was to give back to folks who had retired, fallen on some hard times financially. There was a labor dispute in 1999. A lot of folks found themselves in some financial pickles, and UmpsCare got involved that way. And Faye Vincent, who was the commissioner at the time, kind of tapped everyone and said, okay, this is great, and you can help your own community, but you need to reach out and use your role as a vehicle to help others. And so that's when umpires started taking time out, going to hospitals, bringing boys and girls clubs and big brothers, big sisters to ball games and inviting them. And that's really where folks like Billy Kennedy was friends with some of the umpires and was like, hey, this is really cool. How do we do this? The NFL and the NFL Foundation has been supporting what we're doing. We have some support from the NBA. We're in talks with them about some more support, and they are hopefully going to help us with that. Dana's obviously helped us from the high school side. We're working with officials from MLS and the Women's Soccer League, and it's just been growing and growing. And the more people hear about it, the more they want to know. As Scott and Jen both mentioned, our mission is to inspire, educate, and unite sports officials at all levels with the common goal of giving back and creating positive change in the world of sports and in the community. Our vision is where we see a world in which there isn't a shortage of sports officials. I think everyone on this call and everyone who will listen to this call can agree that finding sports officials is not the easiest thing to do. I don't know if anyone has a show of hands of how hard that is to keep and to retain their officials, but I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here about that problem. We want officials to be respected by the players, coaches, and spectators. And we want young officials to be inspired and work in this field. This is a great opportunity for kids to earn some extra money, to be a part of the community, and to bring young blood into the games. After COVID, a lot of older veteran umpires and officials just left and said, the heck with this. And there's been a huge void, and we're trying to train kids and introduce them to this opportunity. Good sportsmanship is the rule and not the exception. Giving back is always the right call, and everyone does their part to make youth sports a better place. We are led by leaders in the industry, as Scott, we introduced him already, Billy Kennedy. We have Carl Cheffers, Jeff Triplett, and Carl Paganelli representing the NFL. They have worked Super Bowls, they have worked playoff games, you name it. And from the highest level in football, they are on our team. MLS referee Chris Penso is on our board. And also his wife, Tori, which is really cool, is just a groundbreaking referee on the women's side, working in MLS. We hope that she's working in some other games this summer, perhaps. And she has, I believe she was the first American woman to work a World Cup women's final. I'm pretty sure that I am right speaking on that. But we have the lovely Dana Pappas, and we have Officially Human founder Brenda Hilton, who works at the college level with a lot of officials there. So these are the people that are taking time out of their extremely busy schedules to make sure that things change, and that speaks volumes. One of our programs is Be a Good Sport. We are working in partnership with Brenda Hilton from Officially Human and trying to promote programs run by youth sports organizations to promote sportsmanship. If you haven't checked out her organization, you should. She's doing some really great stuff. Her background is in the Big Ten in basketball, so check that out. The Game On program is really exciting for us. We have been doing, Jen, you can correct me if I'm wrong, about 5 or 6 of these a year. We go to high schools mainly, and we say, hey, let's do a full day of a clinic just to introduce kids to what officiating is. A lot of kids have never even thought about it. And it always blows my mind, like kids who are, on the court, on the field, they complain about it, they talk about officiating, and then it's like, oh, I could make money doing this. Like, who is that person on the court who is doing this? Who's that woman behind home plate who's, I'm looking at? And it just opens their eyes. We do hands-on clinics or drills with each of these kids, and they are led by local officials and by pros. So just looking at this photo, I'm looking at some of the MLB guys, some of the NHL guys. It's been a blast, and so many of these kids are chomping at the bit afterwards to work in officiating. As I mentioned, that we're working with local officials and the pros. This was one that was near and dear to my heart because I'm in Ohio, and this one was at Ohio. And there's Tori Penso, the fourth one in, who I was mentioning, teaching the kids about red cards and yellow cards in soccer, and having them do coin tosses, which was kind of funny because you think that that would be an easy thing to do. And I'm sure all of you guys can attest that that's not always the easiest thing to do. Here they are, some of the officials working at a food bank type effort with Hope for Hunger and collecting food with kids. Just the opportunities to work together and to get to know each other as people. I know that Billy and Scott knew a lot of the umpires before, but I'm not so sure they knew the referees and officials from the NFL and from soccer, and just creating that community and understanding what are the issues in each sport, I think has been extremely beneficial. I'm sure Scott can attest to that later from a personal standpoint, but it's been interesting to see everyone connecting on that level. How can you do your part? And this is really what we want to spread the message. Obviously, we want to fundraise. Becoming a monthly donor, becoming active in sports officials care really helps. We will have an online auction hosted on MLB.com next month. Tons of cool items. I think we have like over 300 items, maybe 400 items right now on this. Or signed apparel, signed by officials, umpires, you name it, experiences, and so forth. Every fall, we do a Super Bowl ticket raffle, which the NFL referees have generously donated a couple of tickets, and we throw in some cash for hotel and accommodations, because that could almost be as much as, as the tickets themselves. And also just to follow us on social media. I wanted to mention we had some exciting news today. As a matter of fact, we released our first video, an instructional video with our friends at RefReps. I'm not sure if you guys are all familiar with RefReps or use it. I know each state kind of varies on this, but they do an amazing job with their instruction. Teaching mechanics, teaching the rules, all sorts of things. But where we're filling in the gaps at Sports Officials Care is teaching the life lessons of an official. And we kicked it off today, opening day, which should be like a national holiday if you ask me, but for what my 2 cents are worth. But we had Jim Joyce do our opening video talking about his work on June 3rd, 2010, when he made an infamous call at first base that cost Armando Galarraga a perfect game. And while that could be looked at as a dark day in baseball history, it actually was a way that they made lemonade out of lemons and really proved that sportsmanship really superseded everything. The very next day, even though Jim had received death threats and all sorts of nasty comments, or it was before Twitter, thankfully, he came back. He was scheduled to work behind the plate the next day. He came back, and he and Armando Galarraga shook hands on the field before the game, and they actually wrote a book together about the incident and about how to handle situations and to rebound and the perseverance and the life lessons. Our next video in this series is going to feature Violet Palmer, who was the first woman to work an NBA game. Super excited about that video. She crossed so many barriers and was just an amazing inspiration every time I talk to her. And that's going to be our second video. That was all made possible through a grant from ESPN, Take Back Sports, and their initiative there. So if you're on social media tonight, take a look at it. That video is going to be free for all instructors on RefReps. That's 1,100 different schools, high schools and colleges that subscribe to RefReps, and we created in partnership with RefReps, tongue twister there. We created a curriculum and discussion points for the students to, really converse about what Jim Joyce is telling them. So we were super excited about that today. So hopefully you can take a peek at that. We're going to grow that part of it. And again, just humanize officials. So what I would love to hear from you guys on the call, and to make it more of a discussion than just a presentation, is how can we spread the word? How can we connect with your local assigners? How can we connect with your folks and let them know that these opportunities are out there? I know Georgia, I saw someone from Georgia on the call. We've done a Game On clinic, and we do some other things down there. The NASO conference summit was down there. So ways that we can interact. Scott and Jen, I don't know if you want to pop in and add to the presentation, but that's really what I wanted to get across to all of you. So thank you, Dana.
And thank
Absolutely.
you, Amy, for going through that. Yeah, we're really excited just about the opportunity. Having worked with the umpires and seeing the windfall of just the humanization of the officials has been incredible. And we're hoping that will show through with sports officials care as well. We have a ton of tremendously talented individuals who care and who want to be part of the solution to some of the challenges that exist currently in the youth sports officiating space. And I think that, together we're stronger. As Amy mentioned, we're working with Officially Human. There's some really great nonprofits out there doing some great work currently, and we are working with them. We're not trying to recreate the wheel with everyone, but how can we support the great efforts that they're doing, and how can we all work together to help? Not one group or individual is going to solve the challenges that exist in this space, but how can we do our part to be part of the solution? So.
And I wanted to add from my perspective, there was one of the Game On events here in Indiana at Westfield High School a couple of 3 years ago. I can't remember when it was.
Yeah. Well, and then we did one last year also in
Right,
Indy.
and I wasn't at that one. So the original one that I was at, I will say that from a state association perspective, having come from that world, I would have loved for something like that to have been available at a high school, because as most of you on this call can attest to, and those who are going to listen after the fact, we get those calls all the time from people who are in their 40s who say, I wish I would have known sooner about officiating. And I think that the programming that Sports Officials Care has really can educate kids about officiating early and get them to get the bug early, and hearing the conversations between those students and the NFL officials that were there and the collegiate officials that were there about the pathways and the career possibilities. They were awesome. And you had kids that were just lighting up when they finally understood that it is a viable option after high school. Just because they aren't going to play Division I doesn't mean they can't be Division I in another capacity. So from a state association standpoint, I do think that there's the Game On events, but I also think for those in state offices, if you're looking for a place where maybe you can start building that community and philanthropy outside of the fact that the officials are already community servants, we understand that, but other ways to kind of expand their reach and maybe get them connected with the professional and collegiate officials in your states is really important because that officiating community is so strong. And when you can combine levels, it's a pretty incredible force, I think. So that was really a lot of why I wanted to get this in front of state associations is to see what's out there because SOC is relatively new and we're really wanting to get word out because of the good work that they're doing. So I don't know, Scott, if you've got anything to add.
Yeah, I guess what we'd want either from this group or even from future follow-ups is like, what is your need? Because every state is different, every county is different, every city is different, and how can we best help? The best teams that win the championship, obviously they have to have multiple people doing a great job at every role. And so whatever we can do to help out, that's what we're here for. And if we can use our platform to inspire people or to give knowledge or gives talks or whatever that might be, just to open people's eyes. So I would just like to know, like, what is it that you guys need or would have a vision of so that we can align ourselves with state associations so that when we go and speak, we know how to direct and we know what to talk about and those kind of things as well.
And I'm also game for doing an Alaska cruise / game on program. So if that's an option, Jen, please let me know. I'll book that right now.
I'd like to sign up for that.
You can take up a whole row on the airplane, ladies. Amy was speaking a little bit about the Game On clinics. I have run them the past 3 years. They've been really great. If there is a city or a school where you think it makes sense and you could benefit from it, let us know. What we have found is that it's a lot easier. We've partnered with schools that are teaching the RefReps curriculum because there's a baseline interest level. As a mom of 4 teenagers, teenagers can be a tough crowd at times. So when there's a little bit of desire or interest, maybe they're learning just about basketball in that semester, and this exposes them to basketball, baseball, football, and soccer. So if you think that there's an opportunity where you'd like to have a group of officials come out to the school, we typically run about a 3-hour clinic. It's a 2-part thing where we do some of the very basic officiating drills. A lot of my baseball guys, for example, will have the kids close their eyes and make the call at first based on the thud of the foot on the bag and the smack of the ball on the glove, and it gets them thinking. Obviously with that program, it's grassroots. We want to get kids interested in officiating, but the second goal of that program is, if not, maybe they're leaving that clinic with a little bit of a different colored set of lenses when it comes to officiating, which is also something that's really important because not everybody would like to be an official or has what it takes to be an official. But if we can at least start to have a different narrative out there that they're not the bad guy, that they are there to keep the game fair and those type of things, I think that that's a win as well. So if you have a school that you think could benefit from something like that, let us know and we'll see if we can't add it to the schedule.
And also regarding the Jim Joyce video, if you are not on RefReps, we can make that available to you, and you can watch the video, and we have the curriculum to go with it. So if you want to check that out, please let us know. We're, the more eyes on that, the better. I think every time I've heard his story, I come away with a new life lesson. So anyone have any questions for us or any ideas or thoughts or feedback of how we can, enhance what you're doing or help you send Scott on a nationwide tour speaking? What are some thoughts?
I'm in.
I've never seen so many officials so quiet.
They all just got done with winter sports championships. They're trying to recover.
They're on
Everyone's taking a
vapors.
deep breath.
Yes.
And after the fact, if you think of something from the state association standpoint that SOC could do to help, or if you know of an event going on where it might be cool to have Sports Officials Care Presence. I know Melissa from Illinois is on with us, and they do an annual officials clinic, which is awesome. I got to go there a few years ago. Um, that might be a great event for an SOC presence there because I think it's important that officials know that this organization exists and that a lot of the reason it exists is to help in our space and below. Really, it's the high school and the youth where we're really trying to, get more officials in and help to change the atmosphere and the landscape of what officials have to deal with at those levels. So, if there's ever an opportunity that you have in your state where that presence would be needed, appreciated, et cetera, please let us know. Let me know and I'll get you in touch with Jen and Amy and company, and we'll make sure that we have somebody there to address your group.
And
Yeah,
if
Dana,
you,
I was thinking about our live event that we have, NCAA live event that we're going to have in June, and just trying to think of some possibilities of having someone come through and do it. But I have to work out some logistics with the host site and
Okay,
everything. But if I do work something out, then I'll reach out to you.
that'd be great.
be great. And hopefully we can make something happen there. That'll be great. And the other thing too, if you have a group of officials that are wanting to do something to give back to their community, I'm happy to send shirts and, make it, showing that it's a group of sports officials that you care, that you want to give back. My three of my boys all officiate, and we had probably about 15 of their buddies that officiate as well. And they all came out and stuffed goodie bags for the Ronald McDonald House. And it was great because they came together as officials. They got community service hours. We checked a lot of boxes. I fed them, there was pizza there and all the important things for teenagers. But it was actually a really fun night. And it was fantastic. Fun.
And for those going to the NASO Summit in Grand Rapids this summer, Sports Officials Care will be there and they'll have a booth and you can go by and see them. And I don't want to speak out of turn, but currently working on a game on event with the MHSAA. So if you happen to be there when that event's going on, I'm sure we would not mind if you stopped in just to see what it looks like and kind of figure out what that event looks like to see if it would fit at a school in your state. So that is being worked on now with Sam Davis there in Michigan. So just some items for future thought if you happen to be in Grand Rapids for the summit this July.
Awesome. Well, Dana, thank you again for the opportunity
Absolutely.
to share a little bit more. Happy to field any questions, but also send us a note if you've got thoughts on any of this.
And for those who listen to this recording after the fact, website is sportsofficialscare.org. When I send this copy of the recording out, I'll make sure to include some contact information for Jen and Amy and Scott. So that way, if you want to reach out with any specific questions, if you think of something after the fact, we're all at your disposal. So don't hesitate to reach out.
I just had one quick question, Dana, for everyone here. Are the state associations, how is recruiting going for officials? We've read a lot of statistics from COVID. Are those numbers coming back? How are you reaching out to kids and to officials in general?
So the numbers, for the most part, aside from a couple of sports, are actually above pre-pandemic numbers, which is exciting. But the average age of officials is still not coming down at all. So it's up near 60 across the board, all sports across the country. So, there's a lot of efforts going on with ref reps, getting in schools, working with the NCAA with their player to ref initiative, working with NERSA now. So that's a kind of a new relationship we've formed to get the camp rec officials in a pipeline into NFHS. So we're really trying to infuse some youth into it, but we're still, and I think the state association folks that are on with us, they can attest to the fact that we are still losing them in that first 3 years. So we're doing a lot of training and retraining and training and retraining. It's like we always have a batch of new officials. So we're still like the new officials, we've got a lot of veteran officials, we've got a lot of, but that middle section is where we really struggle to retain them. So that element of mentorship, I think, is huge. And that's something that I think SOC would have a really good fit in with doing some mentorship stuff, some mentorship programming. Sorry, I was reading and I can't read and talk at the same time, but Melissa just from Illinois just said that Illinois is about a 2% increase in officials due to promoting the young officials licensing for 15 and 16-year-olds. And that is something, Melissa, thank you so much for bringing that up. We do have a lot of states that have started some junior officials programs where they're allowing officials who are anywhere between 14 and 17 to sign up to officiate sub-varsity contests. And then in some cases, they're working varsity like as ARs in a soccer match, that kind of thing. So state associations are recognizing the need to bring in that next generation through, some modifications to licensure. Melissa, thank you. That was a great little phone a friend I just used there. I appreciate it. Yeah, so that's kind of how most states are targeting it is outreach. More and more schools are kind of working with state departments of education, and RefReps has done a brilliant job of that, where they're working with those state departments to get PE or VOTEC credit for students who are taking officiating classes in high school. So there's a lot of positive momentum, but now they've graduated from high school. How do we keep them in? How do we make sure that they're mentored? How do we, if they're going to a different state for college, how do we make sure that that person gets set up with the new state? So there's a lot of stuff that has to happen once they've left the high school that they're at.
That's a good point, Anna. I didn't think about the high school official that then goes to a college in another state.
Yeah. So we're trying to figure out some transferability there, and the benefit, the kids that are using that RefReps curriculum, the states know that it's going to be consistent from state to state. So there is a little bit of, okay, they're probably doing, if they both took this RefReps class, it's going to be the same thing. And we're working, of course, on our national credential program, which will help with that as well. So we're really trying to find ways to keep that pipeline going once they're out of high school or college, if we're talking about like MRSA.
That's great.
All right. Any other questions or thoughts?
Thank you again for the opportunity to share.
Absolutely.
Dana, we appreciate it.
Thank you all for joining us. And for those who are listening to the recording, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And we're here to help in any way that we can. And Jen, Scott, Amy, thank you so much for your time and for everything you do with both UMPS care and sports officials care.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Player, a lot of calls you think are easy. I feel I have a lot more like empathy and like understanding towards the refs calls now.
Yeah, I have a lot more respect. I play a lot more respectfully towards them because I know how hard their job is now.
The ref really sees everything that's going on.
The interest in this class is growing in Taunton and around Massachusetts. And for the students, it could also lead to a job and a possible career down the road.
It's also strengthening our ranks as officials because it's been dwindling over the years. So now we're getting younger officials. And so it's actually benefiting everyone that's involved.
Hopefully they get that experience. They enjoy it working at the youth levels, and hopefully they will continue that.
Yeah, I could definitely see myself doing it as a side hustle, or actually maybe one day take it seriously and become a professional. I'd love to be an NBA rep.
I would definitely want to work with the WNBA or NBA. I think that would be a really cool thing.
I think my dream would definitely be like to be like an NBA referee. You get to like referee star players and be on national television every night.
An experience that could lead to a career and a class that's helping to solve an immediate problem.
That's incredible. I mean, just incredible. I don't know if you caught it. This part,
The game that they might not have experienced before.
If nothing else, if the impact coming out of this is what Jillian says right here. Listen to this one more time.
Is much different from a player's point of view. Like I feel like as a player, a lot of calls you think are easy. I feel I have a lot more like empathy and like understanding towards the refs calls now.
Yeah, I have a lot more respect. I play a lot more respectfully towards them because I know how hard their job is now.
We've seen all those articles, sportsmanship, abusive officials. There's all kind of organizations out there trying to make an impact. When you can show tomorrow's leaders what it is and what it means to be a sports official, there's your result. It's going to impact the future of sport. It's going to impact the view. I mean, Jillian's going to be that person that's in the student section during a game and the kids get out of hand. She's going to say, have you ever tried this before? Maybe you ought to calm down. She's going to step up and do that. And that is so, so, so important. I don't want to at all diminish the incredible things that are going on at Taunton, but just a couple things I want to share from our side. I mean, this national initiative is taken on like wildfire. This was released last week by the IHSAA Foundation here in Indiana. They released a grant, $32,000 grant to fund 9 high schools in Indiana teaching this course. What I didn't know going in is that the funding is not just for next year when these schools launch. This is multiple years. They are funding it multiple years so that this will be sustainable, so they can get these kids this experience. This is a Facebook post from Meade, Kansas. I couldn't tell you where Meade, Kansas is. I have no clue, but they are teaching a ref reps class. I'd encourage you, go look this up. This right here is a video. And in that video, it's a group of students taking the class, thanking the school for the opportunity to learn these skills. It's unbelievable. What you're seeing from Mark's class, what you're seeing from Taunton is something that can be picked up and dropped in anywhere, any state, any district. This is a map of the schools that are teaching with us nationally. There's a lot of them. We are in 39 states currently, over 350 high schools and colleges that are teaching this class. This has a real chance to pick up steam. Since August of 2022, we've helped over 15,000 brand new sports officials get started. They've completed classes on our platform, 15,000. In February of 22, the NFHS released the article that 50,000 sports officials didn't continue officiating after the pandemic. There's 15,000 plus back in the hopper just by going through our platform. Across the country right now, there are over 7,000 high school students just like the ones in Mr. Ottavianelli's class. Over 7,000 that now understand what it is and what it means to be a sports official because they've completed these classes. And the thing that's really exciting, Mark mentioned that he's a 22 in the class, the goal, 5 or 10 of them that really pursue it. We ask the students, we ask the adult learners that are on our platform. At the end of every course, we survey them. We ask them, have you either started officiating or do you have an action plan in place to do so? Are you working through the process, getting licensed, getting connected to a local board, whatever it may be? And when we first set out on this journey, our goal was 30 to 35%. If we could get 30 to 35% of these high school students to really want to pursue it, we could make a long-ranging impact. So we started asking, are you doing it or are you pursuing it? 81.7% of the kids that complete these courses have said, I've either already started officiating or I'm working my way towards it. It's unbelievable. And that's based on the learning experience with ref reps, that standardization, but it really comes down to these school partners that see the vision, that have gotten behind it, and the local associations and organizations that are pouring into these kids as well. That is just such a huge, huge component. So just tying that all in together from my side, I know we've got superstars on the call tonight with Mr. Ottavianelli and Mr. Green, and there's contact information from them. I'm sure, I guess I don't want to tell you that you're going to do it, Otto, but if they want to reach out to you for advice, for thoughts, for best practices, I certainly would recommend doing that.
Absolutely. I'd be more than willing to, myself and Chris would be more than willing to help and happy to help people.
From our side, if this is something that we can help with, if it's something that we could help an initiative in your state, in your community, whatever it may be, you can scan that QR code on screen right there. It'll take you to a form. You just fill out that form and it gets our wheels turning. How could we help? Could we engage with the schools? Could we engage with the local officials associations? What can we do to make this happen from there? So I just, from my side, Dana, can't thank you enough for the opportunity, for seeing the vision here, for Mr. Ottavianelli and Mr. Green, the vision you all had to get this off the ground and then just bring it to life. But more than anything, to provide these students with such a unique, incredible opportunity. I know Mark from our side at RefReps, that's how he got started 50 plus years ago. He took a class. And I mean, he's only 55 now, so it's amazing. He got started really early, but he took a class and spent 50 years in the industry, 25 years in the NFL at the peak of the officiating industry, and had a lot of success because he took that class and he took that chance. And then he had individuals like Mr. Ottavianelli who pushed him along and helped him get started. So from our side, that's really what we've got. Dana, I don't know if you want to open it for questions or anything like that, but Mark, if there's anything else to add from your side, I guess I'll leave it there. And then that's what I've got.
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to say something. It's very, very important to have good people working with you. And I am very fortunate for the people in the city of Taunton. Our kids are fantastic kids. I am very fortunate to go every day into school and enjoy what I do. And with the people that I work with, our students, our staff, people like Chris, that's the key. And I'm very, very fortunate and very grateful for this opportunity.
Hey, you mentioned just 2 hours ago, you know, when a school looks at this, this could seem like a daunting task. This is a ton of work. You know, you mentioned something a bit to me about some reinvigoration with this. Has this been a daunting task that's a drag to get in? And
oh, this has been great. This has been fun. It's become consuming, but it's fun. It's really fun to be involved with the kids at this level and helping them learn and see them be successful and have good experiences. It's just a real treat.
And Kyle, thank you so much. And Mark and Chris out in Massachusetts, thank you so much for what you're doing. I was able to share that news story that Kyle just showed within our staff, and those testimonials from the kids, that is everything. Because hearing, you know, maybe they don't want to be an official, but the fact that they're developing that empathy and respect for the avocation is invaluable. Like, we cannot put a price tag on that. And we're so glad to see that that's happening. It just kind of as a side, we were able to, and Kyle and Mark Baltz were there as well. We were at Westfield High School here in Indiana a couple of weeks ago for a sports officials care event. And we had kids who were learning how to officiate in the Westfield High School school in the community. And we were able to talk to them afterward. And after they sat and talked to officials from the professional level, high school level, collegiate level, had them out there at different stations learning how to blow the whistle and how to be in position and all of those things. At the end of it, the one question I asked them was, how many of you think you might want to do this? And about 95% of the kids in the room raised their hand. It lit a fire. And to be able to see that the next generation of officials, they're there. We just have to go, we have to take this to them. And you know, with RefReps, with what Mr. Ottavianelli and Mr. Green are doing out in Massachusetts and other schools across the country, this is a huge resource. And we talk so much about the shortage, and there's some really good solutions within this, you know, within this curriculum. And we understand every state Department of Education is a little bit different. Every school district is a little bit different, but there's definitely a way to make this happen. So don't think of it as daunting. The fact that Mark just said it's reinvigorating, I love that, because I feel that same way about coming into work every day myself. So just being able to grow officiating is exciting. So Mark and Kyle, thank you for your presentation tonight. And at this time, I do want to open it up for questions from the attendees. We still have just under 30 participants online with us. If you've got a question, just feel free to unmute. This is pretty informal, so just unmute and feel free to ask away with to anybody who can help.
Hey, this is John Quick from. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Leslie.
Leslie Tivis, go ahead. If you're still there. right. I don't know where she went. John, go ahead. And Leslie, if you come back on, feel free to jump in.
Yeah. John Quick from New Mexico. Mark, Kyle, great job. Certainly this is something I've been 30 years into officiating, and certainly, you know, out of those 30 years have rattled my brain on how this can actually happen, and, you know, what the curriculum would look like. And it sounds like you guys have established that. Mark, congratulations on the successful program in Taunton. My question for you, Mark, is do you have a standard for your coaching staffs that understand that this is a student official on the field and there's a no tolerance level? Because one thing I have learned as an assigner, as an LLC owner, it takes only one bad game to lose one official.
No, you're absolutely correct, John. And what we've been doing is we've been having, like you said, we've started small because we're just starting out. So either myself or Chris have gone to almost every game and had conversations with the officials, had conversation with the coaches, conversation with the student athletes, and conversations with the parents. Freshman soccer games have been going up and down the sideline. Hey, our kids are new, they're learning, we're trying to support them. Please don't act inappropriately, and give me some feedback on how they are doing. So I would come back, I'd go to a couple of different games around our campus, come back, ask the parents, ask the fans, how are the kids doing? Especially at that younger level, those freshman JV levels, middle school level. That's the most important thing. That's going to be one of the tasks that we're going to have in Taunton when we start our middle school basketball games. Our gyms are going to be packed. There's going to be 300 people in the gym. They're all going to be yelling and screaming in 5th, 6th, 7th grade games. We're going to have that conversation. Myself and Chris are going to have a conversation with our administrators at those middle schools. We have 3 middle schools in the district. You need to be there. You need to be involved. You need to be walking up and down the sideline because this is a learning experience. And that'll also happen because they'll be there with a veteran official. So we'll have the conversations with the coaches, the players, student athletes, the players, the administrators, and the parents and the fans.
And to build off of that, what we've seen nationally is your administrator, it's that reinvigoration. Your administrators are wrapping their arms around these kids. They're protective. They're going to look out for them. And I think that's something that the ancillary impact that's coming from this, when you have those conversations that Mr. Ottavianelli is talking about, hey, these kids are learning, calm it down, take it easy. That's going to carry forward. When the veteran officials come in, that's going to carry forward. Those conversations are going to continue to stretch. I think the biggest thing we've seen is, you know, the Jillian goes to your house on Thursday night and babysits your 4-year-old, and then Friday night she's out refereeing your 6th graders basketball game. That's what's this grassroots opportunity to really make a deep impact on these communities on a small level. And then when you pile all that up on top of each other, now you're driving real change.
John, for example, this past Sunday, Chris Green worked with 2 of our student officials at the youth basketball game all day on Sunday. And the feedback and the evaluation from the coaches from different communities, because in that league, they have an evaluation system for the officials, was that they were very happy with the effort. They knew that the kids might not have, they don't have the experience and they might miss a call or 2, but they were happy that they were running up and down the court. They were trying to get in position. They were putting in the effort. And sometimes when you get one, you know, unfortunately, get a little older, not as quick, doing the game by yourself, it's difficult. We're grateful for those officials, those older officials, for us to be able to still have the games, but we need to provide them the opportunity to mentor our younger kids. And I think the coaches and the parents, especially in the youth groups, appreciate that.
Yeah, great job, Mark. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great question. Thanks, John. Go ahead,
Hi,
Leslie.
okay, sorry, I was having technical issues. So I'm with Goddard High School in New Mexico. We've been thinking about this for a couple of years, so it is something we're very excited about. I also have my coach online, Taylor Strand. She's also watching. My question is, we're looking at how to incorporate it into our existing courses like PE, or could it be a standalone? We're in an AV schedule, so every other day, semester long, half credits. Could we incorporate it into a PE class, or would it be a standalone course? And then, you know, we would need course codes and we could work with the PED for that. How do you guys recommend that?
Well, from our side, from the RefRep side, it's super flexible. You can do it either way. We actually had a webinar today with schools from New Mexico, and that's what we talked about. You have some huge advantages there because you have some course codes on the books that this could just roll right underneath. So we've probably got a dozen and a half districts that are already teaching with us in New Mexico. And I think every one of them, and Zach is on, he would know, I think every one of them, but maybe one or two are doing it through phys ed. A couple of them are doing it, you know, through some other things, I think athletic periods, things like that. But this is such low hanging fruit to roll into a physical education course. Very, very easy.
Okay.
Leslie,
Yeah,
Leslie
I
and
think we're
Taunton,
looking. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Leslie and Taunton, we have it as a physical education elective.
Okay. Okay, I think that's what we're gonna do. And so the next piece is how do we go about getting this curriculum? Like we would want to get started as soon as possible. Is that something we just get with our district with you guys, or?
Yeah, it's perfect timing. Trey from our team just logged on, and he is the rep for New Mexico. I'm gonna drop a link in the chat box if that's okay, Dana.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop a link in the chat box, and that's going to take you to a form. Just fill out that form, and that will put you directly in contact with Trey, and he can help you get it up and running.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. The other thing really quickly that I'll add super fast, when it comes to the school side, you know, when I met Mark, we hand an implementation guide to the schools. Here's how you get this off the ground, step by step. We hand them a breakdown of what you're going to teach week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 throughout the duration of the semester. So it's not just that we provide curriculum, we provide tools for administrators to get this going. We provide tools for state high school associations to get this off the ground. We really have tools that plug into every part of the chain there to make this go.
Hey, Kyle, can I say something here in Florida?
Sure.
All right, Kyle, it's Adam Bates. And I asked this of a lot of educators across the country and coaches and ADs. I assume we're on a mixture of folks on this call. But what about the incoming freshman, sophomore, first time, whatever, taking a 101 class because of the success in Taunton to understand just the basics of what's happening when they become a student athlete? We've talked about it before, of carving out just some simple stuff for them to have for both the student athlete and the student athlete's parents and potentially coaches. So you want to just grab on that just for a little bit, because I know that's been a topic of discussion, and I think that can help because you're helping with sportsmanship and all other things, that the sympathy, the empathy for the officials and the officials starting. So just, I wanted to bring that up. This has been very good.
Well, from our side, the quick version of that, I mean, our mission is to help the world see the game through the eyes of the officials. And there's a literal sense of that. When you see what we do, there's a lot of point of view material we provide. I mean, you literally can see the game through the eyes of the officials, but it's this stuff that we saw, especially in that news article, helping them to understand, helping them to form that empathy. I think, Adam, to your point, when we can start to extend that beyond just the classroom walls, you know, when coaches start to understand what officials do, what they look for, how hard it is, how different the game looks through their eyes, I think we have a chance to make broader impact. I don't want to go too long, Dana. I don't know if it's a hard stop or we keep rolling, but
no, if people are asking questions and you're able to stay on, please feel free to. I don't want to cut it off if people have important questions to ask.
Mark, this is Mark, this is Todd Tharp from the state of Iowa. We're just in the baby steps with Kyle here. A question I have for you is, how did you pay for the seats for the students? Did the school district pay for those, or did you get some outside sources to pay that fee? How did you take care of some of the finances for paying for those seats for the classes?
So we're in a very fortunate situation in Taunton, where we're very supported by our community and our school district. We had 20, I believe there was a deal with the MIAA, our state association, that they would give us some free licenses or free courses for the kids. I think we got about 20 of those. Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct. But then we ended up as a school district purchasing a number, I think over 120 licenses for this year throughout the course. And that will be in our budget. Like I said before, this all came about because of our rentals. We make some good money in rentals. Our superintendent is very supportive. And look, you're bringing in this money from the youth groups, the AAU tournaments and all that. Let's put it back into our school district. So, like I said, not only are we taking care of the course money through the school department money, but we're also providing uniforms, whistles, different sports officiating shirts, different equipment to our kids.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Great questions.
Thank you. Todd, one other thing. My brother David's an Iowa guy. He lives out in Iowa. So he'd be more than happy to, I'm throwing him under the bus, but he'd be more than happy to help you.
Volunteering.
I was side chatting Todd. I was like, hey, where are you from? Ames. He said Ames. So yeah, Todd, let's connect. I work on workforce community programs. There might be something through the state, right? A number of different grants available that we could, I can maybe help you with.
David and Todd, we're already besties. I love it. I think John, you just John Young, you just muted yourself.
Go Cyclones, Todd. We're Cyclones fans.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
I think I double clicked instead of single click.
I do it all the time.
My name is John. I'm from Long Beach, California. I'm the IC for our local high school unit, and we're going to begin using reps as part of our instructional program this year. But the reason I'm on the call is I'm also a public school teacher, and I'd like to present this to our superintendent. And so I had a couple of questions, and one just came up from what Mark mentioned. But I know that you shared that QR code where we could start with that first point of contact. But when talking about a superintendent, would that be the best way to start with them, or do you have another avenue you'd recommend for that level of leadership when we introduce it?
Yeah, oftentimes kind of the route where we start is through the athletic director like Mark, because they're the ones who are feeling the most direct impact. They're the ones that are moving the games and canceling the games. They become the champion. But ultimately, the ones who get this off the ground, it's your principal, guidance counselors, curriculum and instruction. Those are the people that we work with the most directly, because we're going to most likely have to consult them through, how do we code this? What are we going to put this under for credit? What kind of stipulations are there? Does it have to be a certified teacher? Does it have to be a physical education teacher? But we've got the team that can do that. So I would say, John, most likely going through the principal kind of CNI side, curriculum instruction side, that's where we get it moving the most quickly for you.
Got it. I'm an elementary school teacher myself, so I'll reach out to some of the high schools. And then Mark, you mentioned something. I'm going to assume when you said rentals, did you mean that the facilities that your school district owns, they rent them out to, say, youth groups that host their games there?
Correct.
And you make money that way, and that helps pay.
Absolutely.
All right, that's what I thought. Thank you guys for your time.
And John, this is Mark Baltz, Kyle's partner. We have two people on our team here. Getting back to your question, and and Dr. Abney and Dr. Pillar that are both administrators, high-level administrators in the education. Robert just retired in New Mexico, good friend of Dana. He's in Texas now, and Dr. Pillar is here in Indiana, and both of those people can really help you connect with your high-level administrative people as well. So feel free to reach out to Kyle, and we can get you in touch with those people. They're both on the call here, and we can share all that information with you too, if that'll help.
Sure, I'll drop my email in the chat. If that works.
John, I know I'm glad you could make it today as well, but I know I've worked with you on the the association side of things, but I'm happy to talk with you later on about the school side of things. Once again, thanks for joining.
Hi Trey, sorry I didn't introduce you. I didn't see you on.
No worries, Dana.
Page. Any other questions for our presenters tonight? Really good conversation. Great questions, everybody. If we log off and you think of something after the fact, please feel free to shoot me an email and I'll make sure I get it directed to Kyle, Mark, Iowa, whoever needs the information. I'll get it sent out to the appropriate individuals. But I really do appreciate the work everybody's doing, the time that you all invested this evening to listen in and see if you're not already doing this, if this is a good fit for you. If you're already doing it, maybe some other ideas as to how to refine your own program. But we are continuing to really enjoy our relationship with RefReps, and we're super proud of the work they're doing. And it's been awesome to see them on their ride and see them just blow up. So it's been really incredible, and we're super excited to work with them. So thank you everybody for what you do for officials. If you are an official, thank you for being an official. And I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season and a wonderful new year coming up. And I will send a recording of this to everybody who is on, as well as anyone who registered and couldn't attend. Feel free to share it out as much as you'd like. Post it if you feel it's worthy of posting. I think it is, but do with it as you wish. So we just want to share the word out. Again, Mr. Ottavianelli and Mr. Green, thank you so much for your efforts in Massachusetts. We appreciate what you're doing. Kyle and the rest of the RefRep staff, thank you for everything that you all do and for making officials better and maybe bringing down that median age a little bit too. So we're excited about that. But everybody have a great night, and thanks for your participation and attention. Take care.